Greetings everybody. I'm Count Jackula.
And I'm the Horror Guru.
And we just got done seeing Devilman Crybaby.
Talk about Netflix bringing back the hardcore, ultra-violent, ultra-sexual anime. Between this and the Castlevania anime they did.
Oh yeah.
This feels like the 80s and 90s old school anime brought back.
Yeah, it really does. It's kind of amazing. Like it's even got the old feel, which means like for you old anime fans, there's a lot of I am talking about my emotions really loud. Like there's a lot of that stuff, which
Kaneda!
Oh, Kira!
I kept thinking of Akira the entire time because the main character is called Akira.
Well,
so
yeah.
Every time someone would shout his name, I just keep expecting him to shout back, Kaneda!
Yeah. No, totally. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of nudity and there's a lot of gore.
There's a lot of gore, like super gore. Like this definitely brings back that feeling of buying a shitty, crappily subtitled OVA from some random dealer at some random convention, bringing it back, watching it, and going, "What the fuck did I just watch?" You know, stuff like Ninja Scroll, stuff like Osokodoji, and things like that, or the original Devilman OVA.
Yeah.
Which this is the one thing I will say that the thing that it doesn't bring back is shitty writing, because this is actually more well written than most of those old animes were.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the thing that's interesting about Devilman Crybaby is that it's actually an adaptation of the manga series.
Yes,
it's been updated because it's supposed
super
to be
updated.
Yeah, it's been updated for like 2017, which is really obvious
because the internet plays a big role.
Yeah, the internet plays a huge role in it, which obviously it wouldn't have in an 80s anime.
Yes.
Actually, I think technically it's 70s, but like whatever.
Yeah. It's old. It's old.
Yeah, so they updated it, and they did it in a way that didn't feel clunky.
No, everything felt like it worked really well, and God,
yeah, it's really amazing.
This is more emotionally intensive than I expected Devilman to be. Like, I knew that it was probably going to be super violent, harkening back to the original OVA and stuff like that. But what I was not expecting was just how heart-wrenching this was going to be.
Well, yeah, it earns that title of Crybaby.
Yeah,
you know?
Crybaby is not just a reoccurring theme of the story. You're going to be a crybaby by the end of it, and it actually plays a pivotal role in the actual plot.
Yes. Yeah, the fact that the Devilman cries is really important.
The main character, Akira, who becomes the Devilman, is a crybaby. He cries over everything. Well, specifically, he cries when he feels like someone else has been wronged.
Yeah.
That seems to be the main theme every time he cries. But
Yep.
Yeah, but the fact that he cries it becomes really important, because it becomes like how he is human. Oh shit.
Yep.
I don't mean to whoa. Hold on a second.
That's a freaky spider.
We got a big ass spider Jack's got to deal with. This is very appropriate because the actual anime Devilman Crybaby has a spider lady in it. So this is actually very appropriate.
Yeah.
All right. So the spider can chill there until we're done.
Yeah. So one of the things that I thought was really impressive is they managed to condense the entire manga run into 5 hours without making it feel rushed.
Which is super impressive. It's 10 half-hour episodes.
Yeah.
And the one thing I will say is that there are times where that does cause it to feel rushed at points. Because there are points where things will happen, and then they'll just talk about something that happened off screen, and I'm like, I feel like we should have seen that.
All right.
There's a couple moments, there's a point where a character's apartment blows up, and then later they're like, who blew up my apartment? Oh, this person did. They're already been dealt with. And I'm just like, then why'd you show us it blowing up?
It was completely unnecessary to even bring up that plot point.
It just felt like, why not just cut that whole plot point out if you weren't going to actually show any of it, except for the blow up?
Yeah, because
it's not like it blowing up played a pivotal role in anything that was going to come.
Yeah, it was more like a fan service reference to something in the original series that we didn't really cover because it's completely extraneous to the plot.
Yeah.
You know?
So there are points where it felt a little rushed to me because I was just trying to figure out why did you include that detail if you weren't going to elaborate on it at all? But that's only happens once or twice when you're watching it. So it's not the worst thing in the world.
No, it really isn't. I feel like maybe we need to get into spoilers.
Already? Okay.
Yeah, if you like. Well, because first of all, I liked it. Thumbs
Yeah,
up.
I liked it.
Yeah, I really want to see more of this. But let's get into spoilers.
Sure.
Spoiler number one, I don't think there's going to be a second season.
No, this is pretty definitively a complete story.
Yeah.
From beginning to middle to end, and I feel like doing a second season would be pointless.
It'd be totally pointless because at the end, the world is destroyed.
Yeah, the entire world
Yeah.
is utterly destroyed in the apocalypse.
Yep. Those of you who are fans of Devilman see this coming a mile away because
Sure.
you know the source material, you know that that's what happens.
Sure.
It's a Devilman, it's a tragedy. And yeah, they took it all the way.
Yeah.
They really did. I was really fucking surprised. It still has Hermaphrodite Satan. It still has the ending where Satan doesn't realize that Akira is dead and thus weeps at the end.
Yeah, it's super beautiful because at its core, it's almost like a love story between these two friends.
It is.
Between these two friends, one who turns out to be a Devilman and one who turns out to be the actual devil.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's and they managed to, how to put it, like they managed to like dovetail in its crazy backstory of the origin of the demons really
They
well.
did that really well. Like they dedicate almost half an episode to going into that whole thing, and I was really happy they did because I was worried that they were never going to tell us some of this. Like, because there were points where it's just like, okay, I get that he's supposed to be Satan, but I feel like you should now tell us what the fuck is going on if that didn't actually happen. Like,
yeah.
And thankfully they did. They did.
Yeah.
Like towards the end, they actually they do the whole info dump in this really great sequence where he talks about the beginnings of planet Earth and what it was like, and him fighting God and being sent to Earth, which Earth itself was hell. The demons ruled Earth, and then God blew it all up and then replaced it with humans. And
Yep. Yeah. So basically, like, Satan is never allowed to find a place to just like chill out, and kind of has no recourse but to go to war with God, which causes all the problems.
Yeah.
And this brings him in conflict with his best friend, who becomes possessed by Amon.
Yep.
Who really Akira is really just the demon that just wants people to stop hurting each other. He's big, he's powerful, like he will fucking kill anyone.
He's an empathy machine. He cares about everyone else more than he even cares about himself. And what puts him in stark contrast to his best friend, who turns out to be Satan, spoilers, by the end of this, is that his best friend has zero empathy. He doesn't feel for anyone, except for the fact that he seems to care about Akira, but you're not even sure if he does until the end.
Yeah, it's only in the very last scene that becomes
because
clear.
you're not even sure if he's just a pawn in the game that he's playing until the end.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end, you're like, oh shit.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, he just doesn't get it.
He gets the last laugh because he when Satan kills him, because Satan does kill him, and then he realizes he's alone and that the person he loves is gone, and then weeps, and then surprise! Now the Satan has empathy.
Now he understands what pain and love is.
But he had to lose. He had to lose first. He needed loss, and it's really beautifully done. It is fucking beautifully done.
It is. It's really cool. Like this is in the vein of a lot of the manga that were happening around the same period of time that Devilman was being written, where everything was about the fucking end of the world, and just at the end,
Akira,
Urotsuki Doji, fucking. There are actually a bunch of space ones that did the end of the world too, and it all just X 1999.
Yep.
And it just all comes down to, you get to the end of the world and someone weeps for humanity kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I always kind of liked.
What I also like is that in a lot of those animes, including this one, it always comes down to a conflict between two friends.
Yeah.
Who end up destroying the end of the world.
Yeah. They end up destroying the world, through their conflict.
Yeah.
And maybe one of them is more guilty than the other, but still.
Yeah, but I mean, that's Akira. That's
Akira, that's X 1999,
yes.
That's Devilman.
Yes.
And one of the they had a bunch of additions in this version of Devilman that were, I thought, really cool. One was, for some reason, there is this reoccurring motif of being biracial or cross-cultural.
Yes.
And anyone who is biracial or cross-cultural ends up on Devilman's side. And anyone who is like about like purity or tradition or any of those things ends up on Satan's side.
Yeah, because there's this point where society ultimately breaks down when they find out demons are real, and so they're trying to weed out who's a demon and who's not, which leads to complete McCarthyism.
Yeah.
And witch hunting throughout the entire
literal witch hunting
throughout the entire world, and anyone who is seen as impure in some way because they're dissatisfied with the world, because they're a half-breed, because they're anything like that, they are automatically triggered as like, you're different, therefore you must be a demon, you must go. Anyone who has a personality change, like in any way, shape, or form, anyone who gets good at something they weren't good at before, it must be a demon.
Yeah.
You know. But as we find out that there are good demons and bad demons, there are demons in which the demons has completely taken over and want to destroy humanity, and then there are demons in which the human won the internal battle with the demon and are now devilmen.
Yeah. They have the powers of the demon merges with them.
So they have demonic bodies but human hearts.
Yeah, and this fits in really well with the backstory, because that's what demons are in this world, which is they are old organisms that are only partially biological. That
they're parasites.
Yeah, they're parasitical life forms, but
or symbiotes.
Symbiotic is probably a better way of putting it. Like they enter into symbiosis with things and take on their traits. So naturally, eventually, a demon attaching itself to a human is going to take on human characteristics, which it does.
Which is what the Devilmen are.
Yep.
And the Devilmen kind of stand in contrast in the center of this entire conflict. They are the half-breeds. They're the people in the middle of the Hatfields and the McCoys.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they don't have a clear place to stand.
Yeah.
You know, and I really appreciated that. And for the first part, they make it very clear that Akira and his best friend come from a half-breed household.
Yeah.
There is, strangely enough, this was the funniest addition, but it worked. There's a bunch of Japanese rappers.
Yeah.
That fucking, they just appear, and
at first they're kind of like assholes, but as the movie goes on, you endear to them.
They become Akira and his family's friends.
They become badasses by the end too, and
they're
fighting all those people who are trying to siege their house to try to kill Akira's friend because she's a witch, because she's a friend of the demon.
Yeah, because she's consorting with demons.
Yeah.
And one of the things I thought was really interesting is a really interesting addition of this of the track team of the
I was wondering about that. Was that in the original manga? Or was
I
that
don't
something...
remember that being a big part of the manga. They might have been on a track team, but it wasn't like a huge thing.
Because the whole motif of passing the baton becomes really important as the story goes on, because this really becomes a story about working together for a greater good.
Yeah.
And the passing the baton on to the next person when you can't keep going becomes really important. And I really love the way they integrated that. And I love the way they integrated all the personal relationships with all the characters. How there was a character whose original name was Miki, but because this other Miki came up and became really famous with the running, and she's on the same team as them, they started calling her Miko, and she just wants her name back.
Yeah,
like she wants her name, and she was the fastest one before she came, and so
she just wants her place back. You know,
but she also really loves. Miki.
Yeah, really loves it. Yeah. It's a very affectionate rivalry until it gets dark.
Those two like kind of weirdly mirror Akira and his friend.
Exactly. You know,
that was like the track team best friend, the track team girl, Miko, as opposed to Miki, who's Akira's friend. Miko, there was an aspect of hers that I felt was like weirdly handled in that like they never outright address whether the rapper she was friends with was killed by her or just killed or whatever, and it felt weird to leave that hanging.
The rapper that runs into her at the apartment complex she lives in is the track kid from the beginning of the story.
Really?
Yeah.
How is that? How can that be? Because like he's when that rapper and her are teaming together, there's all this stuff about him on the news, like killing his friend and all that stuff.
Yeah. It's still as the athlete.
I'm not sure. I think those are two different characters.
I think they are the same character. We'll check it.
Okay. Here's what I was interpreting was that because they do have similar hair, but the other guys, the rapper's is way longer. You had the rapper guy who really liked Miko and like tries to win her over, takes her out to a party. It's a Devilman party. He ends up being killed in that party, and she ends up becoming a Devilman, much like Akira did.
Right.
But they never actually addressed what happened to him, whether he was killed, whether she killed him, whether what. And so it felt like this hanging loose thread. And the track guy was a separate thing, but if it is the same person, I kind of wish they made that clearer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's...
Because I would have at least needed, like, the rap friends to be like, hey, it's our friend, because they were acting like they have no idea where he is. But if he's this famous track star, then they do know where he is.
That's a good point, yeah.
Because they went around looking for him and ran into a guy who kind of looked like him, but wasn't him.
Oh, that's right. Oh, God. Oh. Okay, so there's this really confusing plot point about this athlete that leads to one of the most shocking moments of the fucking anime that you're not expecting, but is really fucking cool, which is
hardcore gay anal sex. If that doesn't bring a tear to your eye, then you're the one who's inhuman.
Fucking happens. But yeah, on the other hand, like, you do kind of find yourself going like, wait, there was this whole subplot about this track guy that kind of goes... It's important, the fuck?
The track guy subplot, they at least go full circle with, because you see all the news footage of him at the beginning. You see the episode in which, like, he goes and runs the track with the rest of them, and Akira finds out that he's a Devilman and tries to, like, win him over, but then he ends up going on the demon side. So that one is all comes full circle. What is never quite closed is what the fuck happened to the rapper if he's a separate character. Well, here's the thing. There's a couple confusing things like that, because the main character's name is Akira Fudo, and when he turns into the second episode after he turns into the Devilman, and he looks completely different in the second episode because he's now got the Devilman body.
Yeah.
Everyone just keeps calling him Fudo. So at first I thought it was a completely different character.
Yeah.
That they were just introducing, because all of a sudden everyone's acting differently. And I didn't recognize it was the same guy.
Yeah. It's like, could the subtitles have at least called him Akira Fudo the first few times?
Yeah,
you know?
it would have been nice.
You know, like,
or like have Akira at first and then later call him Fudo for the rest of the episode. Because I get it. In high school, like, especially when you're on the track and stuff like that, people will call you by your last name.
Yeah. Especially like Japanese schools.
It makes perfect sense.
It's one of those things where we really needed to be.
I needed him to be called Fudo from the get-go, or just call him Akira in that episode, because it took me the entire episode to realize he was the same character.
Yeah. That's classic lost in translation.
Another good example of confusing things, and this is probably another lost in translation thing, is that the Miki thing confused me for a while, because it took me like a couple episodes to realize that they were two different girls.
Yeah.
Even though, like, it's obvious one has short hair and green eyes and one has brown hair.
Yeah, visually you always separate them, but you can't remember which is called for a
little
bit.
Well, because you had this confusing moment where her mom's calling her Miki, and eventually the plot explained all that, and it was nice. But at first, just probably because of translation and having to read everything in subtitles, I was just really confused on who was who.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh wait, is she Miki or is the other girl Miki?
Yeah. Like that happened, and I wasn't sure it was intentional.
The story ends up explaining it really well by the end of it.
Yeah.
Just like, okay, like she was originally Miki, but they start calling Miko to distinguish her from the other Miki, and she just wants her name back. Okay, makes sense. Yeah. But at first, I was really confused, and I was confused in a bad way, to where I was taken out of the story thinking too much about it and not what was happening on the screen.
Yeah. There's some of that. Yeah. But overall, this series is really good.
Oh God, it's less confusing than most shitty OVAs of the past.
Well, it's less confusing than the original Devilman Akira.
And everything that does 100% track very well, like Akira and his friend and their story, and Akira and his childhood female friend that he's kind of like in this weird friend zone with.
Yeah.
Like that all tracks, everything, whatever. Even Miko's whole storyline about becoming a devil man and trying to beat her rival, but then realizing it's not about beating her rival. She loves her rival. She just wants her name.
Yeah.
That's all she wants is her name, you know? All that stuff really tracks really well, and it's super brutal. It's super bloody. It's super sexual, and God, I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, I did too. Warning, because sometimes we put warnings about this. There is cat death near the end of this thing.
You might want to put that before the spoilers if you can.
Okay. There is cat death in this thing. Spoilers, it comes back to life. Third spoiler, it gets killed again. What do you want to say to me?
There's a lot of animal death.
A lot of death in this.
There's a lot of human death, animal death, everything. By the end of the story, the entire world is blown up. So it's everything dies in this.
It's all relative.
Yeah, this is an everything dies story.
Yeah. So, To encapsulate again, thumbs up.
Yeah.
Really liked it. You should check it out. It's on Netflix right now. Brand new. And love it. Hey, follow me on Twitter at @count_Jackula. And check us out on Twitch. We stream on Thursdays and Sundays, starting at 6 p.m. on Thursday. That's Pacific Standard Time. And Sunday at 9 p.m. at Pacific Standard Time. And until then, everybody, Ave Satanas and just go Inferno. We'll check y'all later.